Finally, boy. Jesus. And you coming through with some Moby cell phone, bro. Already in heaven. This is like the first person I've talked to that's already in heaven, boy.
No, bro, my screen is broken, bro.
It's alright, boy. It's about the content and not the video. What's up?
Yeah,
So, yeah, let's get into it, boy. Subconscious and the conscious mind. Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the subconscious and the subconscious mind is?
Bro, like I think the conscious about ngathini. Okay, you know, like when we spoke about alcoholism the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So if like I would, like if I explain let's say
All
the
right.
conscious you know, the mind that avoids isn't a negative, you know. It always tries to be moral about ihambisana nento efuna society, understand? But then the subconscious is the one that doesn't care about our morals, you know. When you drink, that's automatically, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right. Now that makes sense then. So
Mm,
the subconscious mind is like something where you learn in life what's good and bad, and then it makes a
yeah,
decision based on what society says, and
yeah,
then and then it says, okay, you know what, killing is not good, and but loving is good, and then it says,
yeah,
okay, I'll stray more to loving, but then I can get angry and want to kill, but I won't really do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
when
yeah,
you then say you're drunk, you kind of then suppress that conscious mind, and then you say to yourself, okay, now the unconscious mind kind of rises up and becomes then
mm,
the to the forefront, and then it
yeah,
says,
yeah.
hey man, I'm just doing whatever the hell that I
Like
want to do.
I don't care, you know. I don't care about anything. Just gonna be me.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
So then, so
Ishoganjalo.
yeah, so then that's how you find maybe. So you're trying to say that that's how you find maybe that's like if you're drunk and you suppress the conscious mind, then people are either really happy or really mad, dangerous, risky because
Mhm.
there's no care about what what the world has said or what the world has said. Because the subconscious mind is kind of something that's in between that says, you know what, like nothing matters, and I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm doing it.
Yeah, like at the same time, it doesn't have to be ngathini evil, subconscious about.
Yeah.
It depends on what and letter in one as a month when you are conscious, and then
Yeah.
best we suppress whatever it is they letter in, and then let's say we are pooza. For instance, you can get someone who wouldn't give it, like wouldn't give you even a 10 cent sober, you understand? But then qalaphuze, and then when they are drunk akunikeze 100 rand, that's hayi ngiyakupha abo, it's yours. So like subconscious does not even have to be evil, yabo. Kodwa
Mhm.
subconscious ngathini izinto ezizenza uma singeke sizenze uma siyisober, you understand?
Yeah.
So mina ngiyibona kanjalo, which is why ngiye back to into ade sikhuluma ngayo about alcoholism, ukuthi uyibona kakhulu uma ngabe u-drunk, i-subconscious,
Yeah.
and that's like I believe that's the real you, yabo.
That's the real you, man.
Yes, you can either be good or bad, bro. Yabo, that's the real you. So if umuntu good, sizokubona uma uphuzile ukuthi umuntu good. Izo ngizinto ozenzayo. Uma uthi umuntu bad, sizokubona uma uphuzile ukuthi umuntu bad. Yabo.
Yeah. Okay. That's
So yeah.
because okay. So, but then in saying that, then if you're saying then okay, so you're saying the subconscious mind is something that you're always thinking about, but then you
Yeah.
suppress it because you say, hey, no, don't do this. Like we're not
Yeah.
about this life. Let's focus on what the society says, and then you get
Yeah.
drunk.
Yeah.
And then when you get drunk or when you get put in a situation whereby you're now just reactive, then you're doing whatever the subconscious mind wants, right? You can't really
Yeah.
think about your actions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
True. True.
it's positive or negative, but then it's your
Yeah.
true self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then,
So
so yeah,
mhm. So like I'd say it's subconscious, like it's all about revealing you, like revealing your true self, yeah, bro. Ilan thing shoots and if you are bad so born uma ngabe subconscious suppresses conscious, you know. When you are a good person sizokubona futhi uma ngabe subconscious suppressa ini conscious. It's not about ukuthi hlezi evil subconscious. It's about ukuthi yona iveza ukuthi wena who you are, yabo. Ikuveza as umuntu owuye, whether bad or good, you understand?
That's the person
But,
that you don't want to meet.
Truly, yes.
So
then
that might link a lot to then memory as well, because you find that again, it's what if you live your whole life saying that this is bad, this is good, and I want to live here, right? So bad is here, good is here. I want to live closer to the good side. Then you find that then when you get drunk, and then drunk says subconscious mind come up, let me live in between here. It doesn't matter. And then the more drunk you get, the more you just now in here, and you're not choosing this side, you're not choosing that side, and you're doing all sorts of stuff, and then you start telling people the truth, because then it doesn't matter what you think about them. Society doesn't really matter. And then you find that you're saying things that you would say and that you've been thinking of saying, but then because it's such a negative thing in your mind for the conscious, as soon as you get sober, your conscious then suppresses all of those thoughts and all those memories, and then you can then per se say that that considers a blackout or a loss of memory, because you don't want to be thinking about that. And then you wake up and then people tell you, hey bro, you did this and you did that and you did this, and you're like, no,
and you don't even remember.
Yeah, but then then it would make sense then that the subconscious then says, I mean the conscious says, look, this is so bad that we've never wanted to stray away from it, so the best thing to support you is to just suppress it. But obviously other people are not, they're not going to be suppressed. They'll see what you're doing and they'll be shocked, but then they'll be like, okay, well, where does it come from? Because it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's like ingane encane, you understand? Engazi next. So if uphuzile, and then I mean I'd say you go back to those states when you were a kid, ungaboni next, unconscious of your surroundings, and then if sikutshela thina mawukhulutha and kade usemncane bu 1, 2 and 3, and then you'd be like, no, bengekho mina kanjalo, because ukhumbula, you understand? So I mean, it's like even uphuzile, it's like you go back to ekubeni ingane, and whatever yenzayo when you are drunk, you don't even remember the next day which you are paying. So that's the real you. That is why, like, I made an example about Adam and Eve as well. In the Bible, as Batola, it's a kind of Eden, you know, they obey their God, their maker. And then it's Batola, they fall into temptation, from the tree to Abangat. And the moment bese beyibona ukuthi ba naked, yabo. So all along before bengagadli bengayibona ba naked, you understand? Kodwa if sebe distract abangasithi bebona sebe naked, you know, they became conscious, you understand? So it's like it's tasteless, so kube ngena sukile kubona leso states bakhula, and then they became conscious, yabo. But it doesn't mean ukuthi and akubona labaya akade be unconscious and bengayibona ukuthi bengagqokile kusayibo. It's the same people. Ile nto it's like even mawuphuzile sikubona wenza into ongajwayele ukuzenza, it doesn't mean it's akuwena. That's the real you.
That's the thing. So I think that's the thing. It's like that is true, because I mean there's a lot of, we hardly ever know anything about the brain, but what you're saying, I think you just kind of have to connect the dots. We might be wrong, we might be right, but if it makes sense, we can kind of go somewhere, and then someone else can make sense somewhere and connect it. But like what you're saying, that, you know, when you're a child, there's a lot of things that you don't know, right?
Yes.
And you never fallen before, so you fall for the first time. You feel pain for the first time. You have all these things that then make you a person that then says, okay, you know what, this is wrong, this is right. I'm gonna chill here. I'm gonna chill here the whole time. Then your brain kind of connects like that, and then it says, okay, Yazmuni, let's stay away from this. This is bad, therefore we will suppress it. And if it's suppressed, then it's something that we cannot or should never store right?
Yeah.
So then you say that when you get to certain situations that are kind of too bad for you to even understand, it then
Yeah.
opens up that avenue of, man, anything is possible here. So you
Yeah.
find not just, again, not just alcohol, but in certain situations where you find that you would say, you know what, I would never, like a Hitler type situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, like, how does someone become like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then you think, well, through time, through the
Yeah.
fact that you go through so many things, stages in life whereby
Yeah.
this doesn't seem as bad anymore. And then you push
Mm.
it even further. And then you find that then that's no longer the boundary. And you just moving your boundary side to side. And then you have very
Yeah.
good, very bad according to you. So then you find that then you put yourself in situations where you're either very mad or very tame to certain situations or very blunted to certain situations that then it
Yeah.
then becomes a norm to you, you know? And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well then is that subconscious mind then actually rising up and becoming something that you find that this is actually who I am, you know? Because I
Yeah.
mean, Hitler didn't probably want to kill people, but it's, you know,
Yeah.
you put into situations whereby you say, you know what, I am capable of it. And then you find that even when you look at yourself and you think about yourself, there's if I ask you now, would you kill someone? You would say no, for example. And you say, okay,
Mm.
fine, well, I can put you in a certain situation that you could possibly even think about it, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
the fact that you can
Mm.
even think about it means that it's somewhere in your psyche, it's somewhere in the conscious or the subconscious, right? And that,
Thing is,
yeah, and it might not be in the conscious because obviously you're not thinking about it now and directly
yeah.
now, but it's always brewing in the subconscious. And then all of a sudden I
Yeah.
say, you know what, bro, someone tried to kill your mother, then all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
and then your barrier goes straight there, and you say, okay, cool, I'm able to kill now because now you can see yourself through it, you can envision yourself through it, you can feel it,
Yeah.
senses are there, and then all your senses then become that
Yeah.
emotion. You know, they become that, and then you find that then actually I'm able to do it, I can see myself do it. Then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well then who's the real you and who's the fake you?
But you know, like the thing is, the brain, bro, like it has a part to record izinto and then store izinto somewhere, you
Yeah.
know, to a point where it's, you know, we are not conscious if they record like the brain. For instance, you made an example, good, uma usayingane, like you don't feel anything, and then as ukhula, and then you fall for the first time, you feel it, you cry. But the thing is, even ingane unconscious of my surroundings, when they fall, bayakhala as well.
Mm.
Yabo. So
Yeah.
I would say the brain records that, yabo. Leyo
Mm.
pain abayifilayo uma befola. Thing is, umzimba ngathi bona unconscious of it.
Just
However, ingqondo i-conscious, ingqondo iya-record, you know. And then if sebekhula and then they fall, ingqondo iyabakhumbuza, no, when you fall kubuhlungu and you must cry. Yabo. So I'd say even izinto zenza uma uphuzile, izinto ingqondo conscious of zona. It's
yeah.
just ukuthi yona ayi-connectisi kizo uma usobha ukuthi ube aware of zona. You
Yeah,
understand?
that's
Kodwa,
that's yeah, awareness.
but
Yeah,
yes. But the brain is conscious of the real you.
mm.
You understand? It's just you who are not conscious of the real you. You understand?
Shoot. Yeah, that's deep.
So yeah.
That's you not conscious of the real you.
Yes.
That's, you know, because when you say now things about like awareness and things like that, you find that it makes sense in the sense of if you have your brain there and then it doesn't connect everywhere to everything because then you
Yeah.
get exhausted and then there's just too much information coming in because what are you going to do about certain situations? What are you going to do about certain situations? So then you find it says, okay, what's important, right? And then it taps into that area of, okay, well, if I fall now, right, is it important for me to cry or look at what for the pain to kind of for me to feel the pain? Is that important, right? And then if you're crying like out, if you go and you scrape your knee, you'll look at your knee and say, ah, you know what, this is really sore, and then it taps into that part of the brain. But then, for instance, you go out and you in a fight and you punch someone, and now your senses are alert, so you're more aggressive, your adrenaline is pumping. Then your brain says, I think it's not keen for me to cry. It's not about crying now. It's about me fighting this person, right? So then again, it's that fight between the conscious and the subconscious. Because again, it's like it might be the exact same type of pain or the same, and pain is another one. But it might be the same type of pain. It might be the same type of mechanism that made you feel the pain when you weren't fighting. But now that you're fighting, it says, no, you're not going to tap into that. We're tapping into this part, and we're going to then solve this person. Then you find that after you fight or after the squirrel, then you come back, and then everything kind of dumbs down, and the brain says, okay, cool, now let's focus. Then all of a sudden you say, hey, man, something's wrong with my knee. And then you feel that, oh, flip, actually, I scraped my knee. And it can go, it goes into bigger things. Like it can get into car accidents. People walk out and then they're so much in shock that afterwards, when they kind of suppress everything, then you find that, oh, flip, I actually broke my shoulder. You know, in that moment, we'll be doing so many things. Same with, you know, like women wrestling bears, or, you know, jumping over, pulling up cars, or, you know, lifting dogs off babies. They're just so into that moment that then when they're done, they're like, oh my goodness, like I don't know what I could do that. But then it's like, where is that support? Because it has to be in you, you know? It's conscious. Because if I say to you, go and do it now, will you be able to do it? Then you say, okay, well, it's a conscious thing, you know? But then if it's something that you then forced to do in a certain situation, then maybe then that's the subconscious. But the question is then, which one of you is real? Just because you see the one more often, right?
Doesn't mean that's the real you.
Exactly. Because then what can happen is, again, you can, if you're subconscious and you're always telling people the truth, and when you're sober, you're scared to let it go. What happens when you're an alcoholic, right? When you're an alcoholic, you drink and you tell people the truth all the time. Then you sober like 5 minutes in a day, and you drink again. And so in that 5 minutes, you say, you know what? I'm sorry for that. I didn't mean it. Then you drink again, and then you talk about the truth again. Then it's like, well, then actually, then you're more drunk than you are sober. So then does that mean that your subconscious is more of you than it is your conscious? So that's what I'm saying. So it's like, which one is which? Just because you see one more doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are, and it also doesn't mean that that's who you aren't.
Yeah, like I think the upbringing and the society has a role in suppressing the real you. You know, because like, you know, there are rules. You must not fight as a nyingadi. You must not shy, because akukho right. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think leyo nto leyo siyifundiswa ama-school and esiyifunda esikoleni as well, and esiyaziyo ngokomthetho ne-constitution. Konke lokho kune-role ekuyidlalayo to suppress the real you. Yabo.
Now that you said that, society, all these things have a role to play in which one's subconscious, which one's conscious. Do you find that even in certain cultures, so cultures in like you know, Xhosa, Zulu, all of that, you find that then if you're perhaps, say, lesbian or gay or trans, like, you find it more difficult for you to come out, or you find it more difficult for people, or you see people more difficult, or you see that it is more difficult for those people to come out when their culture is predominantly just male, just female, nothing else. Right?
I think even the Bible has a role as well. Religion. Because, for instance, the Bible is against abantu gay. If you ufunda ngeGomora neSodoma, there were gay people kuleyo ndawo leyo, but God decided to destroy leyo ndawo because kuleyo nabantu gay, kunabantu ababulalana, nabantu abadla abanye, cannibalism, you know. So even the religion as well, in influence and perceive as right and wrong, and as moral and immoral, you know. So
that's it. Yeah, that religious debate is also another one. But I see what you mean though. But again, it's like, it's weird because you find that in certain cultures there's more of these type of people. Or say again, like gender-wise, it's like, but how do you find that in KisiZulu, for example, there's not a lot of gay people, but then in in Xhosa okanye less primitive cultures, there's more people of that are gay. Is it that there is actually more of them in quantity, or is it that there's just not a lot that want to come out that then suppress it? And then it's that fight of which one, the subconscious and the conscious.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people suppress it because like I know a couple of guys like who were straight, but then when must be cool and then they came out with no actually but gay. So lapo in the culture lapo because culture bafundisa ukuthi if umfana you must be a man.
Yeah.
If you are a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman.
Oh, and that's how it must go.
You understand? Ayisifundisi ngokunye ukuthi kuyenze ukuthi uzalwe umfana but ungayifilwa nomfana abasifundisi into efana nalezo, you understand?
Yeah.
So if you're a boy, you're a boy. If you're a girl, you're a girl, and then that's it. So ngamanye amagama lo muntu loyo uyasuppressa express as the real self, ukuthi enubani, you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the culture, the upbringing, and then the religion, my influences, in the politics, whatever. So
yeah, no, that's true, bro. Then you find that this whole thing is just a fight between yourself. It's not even really a fight with the outside world, It's not a fight about what the society thinks. It's like, well, actually, it's about what you have in yourself. If you tap into yourself, what are you capable of? Aren't you? And then society just regulates that. So
and a lot of people commit suicide because of it.
Yeah, and then you find that if they were in a different culture, they would have never done that. They would have been more expressive. They would have been allowed to then say, "No, bro, like be yourself. You don't have to be like this, like that. You can do whatever you want." And then that person, it's actually not that bad. And then, or it's not bad at all. And then all of a sudden, they become who they unconscious or conscious self is.
Yeah.
Whereas then in a different culture, even if it was a conscious thing that they are, they would then be made to suppress it in society.
Yeah, I mean my culture, injalo nje, exactly.
Yeah, bro.
Injalo, exactly.
I mean, yeah, no, I know. And then you find that and then that's when they say cultures have changed. It's not really that the cultures have changed. The cultures have just now recognized that maybe these things happen and they're now more open to it. But then the population is still the same in terms of we still get born the same way, and we still have the conscious and the subconscious mind, and your genetics are still the same, or they're relatively the same. So now it's just that you're just allowed more to then express who you are. And then when these things come, then that's how culture changes. And then there's more restrictions. And then as time goes by again, you find that, actually, there's more people that identify as a dog or a cat, and then it's like, well, okay, fine. Then actually, that is true or could be true. Then culture allows you to do that, and then you find that it's not that there's more people that think like that. It's just that more people are allowed to think like that, and then they become that. And culture again kind of closes again, and they says, okay, I'll be fine now, and then things just keep going, and you find that then the subconscious and the conscious mind keeps kind of interacting with each other, trying to break who you are, who you aren't, but trying to find an equilibrium,
Yeah, I mean, but like all in all, I think I want to, and they express themselves, guys. If being sober, but like also, it's even easy to follow rules, customs, rules, culture, or whatever, or society is right, But if it's challenges, I'm just say Puzella, and then you be like, it's screwed up my rules. Let me just be me. So I mean, it's fundisiwe, it's conditioned and suppress the real us. You understand? But then at some point, must see so that you just express who you are.
That's bars, man. Okay. Take home messages. The subconscious just might actually be the real you.
Yeah. And the to come out, but just be yourself. Yeah. It's very important because it needs a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And then which is even depression, you know, because like abantu abasha mfethu bayibulala strong, suicide strong, but depressed abakwazi ukuzi-express indlela abafuna ngayo, you know, it's just so stressful.
That's true,
So
bro.
kubalulekile to
Yeah.
express ukuthi ubani.
Yeah, no, that's very true, man. And I mean, it's like these videos as well. It's like you find things that that who you are from other people or from other things, and then you say to yourself, okay, I'm either gonna suppress it or I'm not gonna suppress it. Then it's like, you know what, I just want to do this, I'll do it. And then you do it, and then you find that then actually this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I feel so much comfortable when I'm doing stuff like this, when we're having conversations like this, whereby you know, your whole life you kind of chill and you talk to different types of people and different people, and you have such like awakenings, right? Of like, oh, actually, you know what, man, that was such a good conversation. Or if only someone could hear that, but then it sticks between you, and then it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then you say one day, you know what, actually, let me try and have these conversations on a platform where then other people can hear it, almost like an audience can then tap into it. Or even I can tap into it when I need to, because sometimes it's like motivation. You kind of have to listen to something, and then you say, oh, I get that, and then you do something else, and then you come back and say, oh, actually, what did he say? And then you come back and you tap into it, and you say, oh, yeah, now it makes sense. You know, sometimes you hear it once, it sticks, and then you go and you do something, and you're like, oh, I forgot what he said, but it was kind of like that, you know. And then you finally do stuff like this. You feel so much more at peace, and it feels more natural. And then people will come to you and say, hey, bro, you know what? Like, thanks for helping me with that conversation that you had the other day. And it's like, man, like I felt like I didn't even do anything, because that was who I was expressing myself to be, you know?
Yeah, kubalulekile mfethu, kubalulekile. Because ngathini, khona abantu abangekho that strong, you know, to come out. So bayadinga such platforms njengalo wayivulile ukuthi bezwe ukuthi abanye abantu bathini, bacabanga into efana lezi. And I think enye into i-support kwabanye mfethu engekho, you know, emakhaya for instance.
And it's small, bro. You don't need much to someone.
Incane. So sikhuliswa abantu aba very conservative.
Yeah, bro.
Our parents, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they are very conservative. Abafuna ukushintsha. So,
yeah. It's like the barrier between who you are and who you could be is so thin, but then that thin lining is strong. And you find in someone, you just need someone like to say to you, hey, bro, I'm proud of you. Or, hey, man, like, keep doing what you're doing. And then before you know it, you're actually living to keep doing it. But if no one ever says that to you, those 3 or 4 words, it's like you always feel like, oh, maybe, you know what. But then also it can work negatively. If someone tells you something about yourself or something that you don't like, it'll stick with you if you don't have the guile or the power to kind of actually then say, you know what, no, what you're saying is not right, it's stupid, and I'll challenge you on it. And you challenge him on it, and then when you find out that either you're right or wrong, then you say, okay, cool, let's go into that path, you know. But it takes a small lining to kind of just jump over, but that barrier that we have is very small.
And
very strong, So
and kubalulekile to support each other. Bonje wenza into enhle ukuvula this platform ukuthi sikwazi ukukhuluma, because mina-ke baningi vele abantu engi-interacta nabo, you know, especially abantu abasebasha, yabo, abaninkinga ey'fana lezi abakwazi ukukhuluma ngendlela abafila ngayo to ama-parents abo, because ama-parents have their own way of thinking. Ukuthi hayi mina as umzali, if ngithi into eso wrong, it's wrong. You don't have to question it. We don't have to argue, you know. It's either my way or yangiphumela emzini wami uyahamba. Some parents banjalo, understand. Kanti iy'ngane ey'ncane youth idinga support, idinga ukuthi umlalele ukuthi uthini, yabo. And then bese umbonisa, umguide as umuntu omdala, but ungamnxishi ekutheni azi express ukuthi ubani, because ekugcineni naye uyi-individual anifani. Ngisho ngomzali wakhe but anifani, uyi-individual. You understand? Akwazi ukutheni into eyithanda uwena njengomzali as well. So I think supportana kubaluleke kakhulu.
No, very Felix. I think it always needs. Even there was this other time, I was talking to someone and they were telling me, but hey, if you feel like I and it makes a lot of sense. It's just a lot of you speak quickly and it's a lot of words that we don't understand. And then in my mind, I'm like, but when I'm talking to the people that I normally talk to, they normally hear me. But then I'm like, actually, that's actually a big difference. That's also a barrier. Yeah, well,
True,
so
yeah.
just talking to Umchita that's going to speak is, you find that, oh, abezulu or umuntu ongafuni uthetha English okanye isiXhosa okanye noba yintoni unalani ba iyatsho ndamuva bangithini lo muntu manje kanti le nto beyithetha. Yeah, but now because you also in your own frame and your own frame of mind, you're kind of accustomed to a certain way, you then forget that language is so important to then reach out and some people don't even hear, like we can speak and say the same thing, but then if you say isiZulu and Xhosa, it makes a bit more sense because that word in this context means something a bit more powerful or a bit less powerful and a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, bro. That's why, like, even now, I just wanna even talk to people with different dialect, mixing that we can kind of get to someone or get this to people to kind of then stop this whole victim mentality and this, I'm suppressed, I don't know what to do where I'm at. Like, okay, what can you do? 10 options, now tap into the potential that you have. Yeah, well, you don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing it. It's in your conscious in the sense that it's easy to do. It's accessible, right? Now, why would you do something that's accessible if you can do something that's not accessible that you think you can't do, but then when you do it, you have so much power because then you ask yourself, you do only any that I can't do, because if I can do something that I never thought one guy answer, then what's going to stop you from doing other things that you can't do? What?
Yeah, like I wanna say about the issue of language, it's very, very important because sakhuluma English, but abantu ngempela they don't understand the system. So kodwa mawukhuluma nge-language yakho or language umuntu ayizwayo, then bayathola ukuthi ukhuluma ngani, you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like even schooling as well. Like university, for instance, come from ama-backgrounds angafani, so it's abanye lecturer mayikhuluma siyeza sobayithu ukuthi thini, but indlela esiqonda ngayo ayifani because of the background, you understand? That's why you get abantu abayi-2 abafunda into eyi-1, omunye uthola 100 makuthiwa khona i-test, omunye uthola 50, so
yeah, that is so important, Fit. Sorry, man, but that's so important because you find that abantu abaninzi say masithi mhlawumbe like ufuna uthetha nabantu base-Mitchells Plain, for example, ufike wena and you go and you speak English, right, to a predominantly Afrikaans area, right? Automatically, it's like we don't hear what you're saying, and you might be bringing so much value, Fit, but there's just certain words that just don't hit the same. But then you find sometimes you can get someone to translate, or you can learn those words, right? And then they connect with Ababa. Then you find that your message is so much more powerful, even though you're saying the exact same thing. And then you find that certain communities like that, or other course, or you can go to Bryanston, wherever wherever it is, it's so they're hearing things that are very important, but not in a dialect or in a language that they can understand. They can understand fully. And then they say, we don't understand this Babatini Abba. But then when you make it relevant to them and you put it in context of what they're doing, then they say, hey, man, this is exactly what's going on. But if it's, you sit in a corner, it's like, in a corner, what is that? Then you're like, oh, big difference.
But even Nangai language sometimes count as uqhamuka up nendawo ukhulele nendawo. For instance, like isiZulu, for instance. isiZulu kuyakwazi uqhamuka up nendawo because khona ngathini kunamanye amagama thothi elaqinile uma mhlawumbe ngikhuluma nomuntu oqhamuka eThekwini, for instance, mhlawumbe ethe umuntu oqhamuka eThekwini nomuntu oqhamuka eNkandla, bakhuluma isiZulu thothi mhlawumbe abazwani kahle hle ukuthi umunye uthini because asifani exactly isiZulu sabo, you understand? Mhlawumbe esomunye it's deep, esomunye nje yabo lesesilula lesesikhulunywa wonke umuntu, you understand? So
but at the same time, then it creates that barrier that we're talking about of the subconscious and the conscious thing. But you might you are going to take away time you come by deep, AC as deep, but AC is not deep. more people actually then resonate to it. Then you find that it resonates to more people, which is then resonate to resonate more to more people, and then the people that are speaking Weziti, they're just gonna get smaller and smaller. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you find that
resonates with the tribe or whatever.
Yeah. Then you find that you're suppressing exactly where your roots are, but then you improving or you elevating exactly what you think you are. And then as time goes by, you find out that, the roots come back, and you're like, actually, maybe the subconscious and the conscious fight again.
True. Yeah, like it's a very big internal battle into conscious and subconscious, you know, and it's a pity that iningi as we express our subconscious because it's restricted into you know, constitution, rules esikhula religion, whatever, so kubuhlungu kakhulu, you know, ngani ngoba kuningi esifisa ukusho esabantu esingakhona ukusho ngenxa ukuthi khona izinto ezisivimbayo, you know. It's like subconscious and it's being censored, you know, compared to conscious, ukuthi uma siyibheka khona ama-rules akhona ngoba ngathini uyamthola umuntu osober ovela asuka mbulala omunye umuntu mhlawumbe emrobe mbamba inkunzi ambulala, so uthola umuntu odrunk enza the same thing. So tshela mina ukuthi ubani oveza umuntu kuyena ngqo o real lapha between umuntu osober ubulala umuntu nomuntu odrunk ubulala umuntu. So even that, in fact, I believe in subconscious is the real you. I'm told umuntu ungekho drunk uthatha isibhama dubula umuntu ambulala, and then you can find umuntu drunk who take a gun and kill a person, but you understand? So I mean,
exactly what you're saying. I think again, like you is very important in the sense, but you find that a lot of people want to have these conversations, or they want to hear these conversations, you know, and they just, there's no platform for the biasm of us for many, and then that's when we get into our little circles, and then we form little circles, and then this group thinks this, and that group thinks this, and that group then forces themselves to think that, but then we forget and actually probably do all think the same thing, but because a combo that's expressing themselves or allowing that platform to be had, we then break up, we go into smaller groups. And to say, because then you find that in the groups that are formed, you have one person or you have like a particular thing that you have to think about, almost like church, where it's like you have to think about that, you have to think about this, this is what we think about. If you don't, then you belong into this group. Whereas sometimes if you have something that's going to say, listen, these are the solutions, these are the possible things that could happen, this is not wrong, this is not wrong, this is not wrong, this is not wrong. This might be right, this might be right, this might be right, this might be right. So don't influence this person too much, and you know, vice versa. So whatever you believe, whatever you think, it might change sometimes. You might find between the ages of 1 to 10, you believe a certain thing. Then from 20 to 30, you believe a certain thing. 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and so on. And that's what happens in life. You find that as you go through experiences, that change, and then you find that. But then the what actually what happens in the world stays constant. Yeah, like I might like you today, and then I spend 10 years with you, and then I don't like you, and then I spend another 10 years with you, and then I do like you. It's like you still you. Yeah, well, you might have still. It's just that now I've seen certain parts that I want to see and interpreted the way that I want to see, depending on where I am. So now for me to say that it's wrong, knowing that tomorrow I might say it's right, it's like just always keep open the sense of, you know what, I don't want to just close my brain or close my mind up to being taught, so you always want to kind of speak to someone as if you always have something to learn from them, because if you don't, then
it's a useless conversation, Magunjali, I believe it's either you learn something from them, or nobody isn't, So I mean, i-conversation isuke ithule ukuthi ayikho into eyifundayo, ayikho into engikhuluma ngayo serious lapho yebo. But like this thing because you mentioned into ukuthi we end up forming ama-groups as abantu, I'd say lento uma uyibheka kahle isuka emakhaya leyo nto, and indlela esikhuliswa ngayo, but the biggest influence isikole ne-church, you know. Ngani ngoba sikhuliswa abantu abaye esikoleni, you know, abafundile abanye babo, abanye abafundile vele, abanye iy'mfundiso ngathi zasekhaya okanye zase-church abakhule ngazo. So whatever indlela abayona ba-influence abaningi iy'ngane zabo, you understand. And then now as ukhula with influence yasekhaya, ngamanye amagama uma ukhula usuke umzali uma ukhula, your ideologies, your perceptions, umzali, you understand.
Directly from umama wakho okanye utata wakho.
Yes, until now uzuye esikoleni and then form friends, you know. Because I remember like evarsity, you remember you city kada since the first day ukuthi uma sedletening all the way groups. So it's abantu amhlophe bahleli bodwa, the black people bahleli bodwa. Yabo hlezi buzo why indaba sahlala esikhulumeni, you know, share my ideas. My influence asekhaya nesikole into edala lonto ebantwini, you know, izinto esifunda esikoleni, education system.
I mean, I'd come and look for these types of people, but then consciously to ask yourself, hey, why am I doing this? Yeah, well, it goes to the whole balance.
Yeah.
Well, let me say we can actually go into that topic a bit more. Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah, well, checking out.
All right.